So we have been talking about the sheer higher valuations of the mid cap and the small cap space. And we prefer, and many people in the market are trying to prefer the large cap space, preferably the Nifty 50 or the Nifty 100, but more specifically, I would say specifically the Nifty 50 space, right? But here I will just try to cite a few of the points. Now here I'm not justifying that purchase only mid caps or purchase only small caps, but a few of the points which we can ponder upon and really think that is a large cap really a good space going for the next 3 to 5 years, right? So the first reason is we talk about the India growth story. Next 10 years, 20 years, next decade, next 2 decades are the time for India. Where China was there 15 years, 20 years down the line, India has entered the same decade. But one thing we need to understand is if India wants to grow, if India wants to become the second largest nation in the world, right? If we want to really increase our per capita income, right? All those emerging spaces for the future, all those emerging spaces that will give returns, that will drive the India's growth story the next decade will emerge from the mid cap and the small cap space. And that is the reality. You might call that as a harsh reality or a fair reality, but that is the reality. All our industrial spaces, EMS spaces, we talk about the China plus one theme. We talk about chemicals, specialty chemicals, EMS, which stands for electronic manufacturing services. We talk about healthcare companies, hospitals towards CDMO or contract development manufacturing operations or generic spaces in general. We talk about the Make in India theme, which talk about capital goods, power, specifically towards the clean sources of energy, wind, solar, hydro, right? We talk about the auto ancillaries, not specifically auto, but auto ancillaries, EV companies of two-wheelers and four-wheelers. Right? We talk about major consumer discretionary companies which drive the theme for urbanization. We talk about the mid-sized banks or the mid-sized NBFCs which drive this theme of financialization of savings, right? So all these major themes, all these major sectors or all these major companies are present in the mid-cap and the small-cap space and not in the large-cap space. Large-cap space already have that size. We talk about the law of small size, the law of small companies, which tend to grow at a much higher growth rate vis-a-vis the large cap companies because they have the potential to grow. And the probability of the mid-cap companies become large cap companies is much more higher in the next 3 to 5 years vis-a-vis a small cap company becoming a large cap company directly. Small cap will become mid-cap, but they will grow. Right? The average size of these companies as per SEBI definition has also increased. Right now, mid-cap companies are around like 20,000 crores. Earlier, the definition of large cap companies was something around like starting from like 20,000 crores or something. But nowadays you have those kind of mid cap companies like ranging between 20,000 crores to 70,000 crores, right? So that is the thing. So many of these emerging themes or companies will emerge from the mid cap and the small cap space. The second reason is if we talk about from FY19 to FY24, FY19 to FY24, year yaad rakhna, the Nifty 50, your Nifty 50, it gave you an EPS CAGR. यहाँ पे मैं बात कर रहा हूँ EPS CAGR की, earning per share, which is a proxy for the profit after tax or the profitability of the company. Higher the profit, higher would be the EPS. EPS CAGR grew by 20%. For Nifty 150 mid cap index, it grew by 40%. For Nifty 250 small cap index, कितना grow करा? It grew by approximately 30 to 35%. I'll take as a 35% number here. The expectation for FY25 to FY28 expectation, large cap, again EPS CAGR, focus on the word EPS CAGR की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. Expected to grow at 10% और 10.5%, वो भी हो गया बहुत बड़ी बात है. For the mid cap index, Nifty 150 mid cap index is expected to grow at 20.3%. For small cap, 17.7%. Again, the mid cap is showing a much higher growth in terms of EPS CAGR vis-a-vis the large cap and small cap. Third reason, we saw the Q4 FY25 number, the last quarter from January to March, 1st Jan to 31st of March 25 earnings for India. Year on year, Nifty 50 ki earning was just 3%. Unadjusted number was 5% because a few of the companies had one-time gains. Ignoring that, 3.3% ka number. The Nifty 150 mid-cap index grew by 28% year on year. And Nifty small cap 250 index gave you around 19 to 20%. Right? So that was the thing. If you talk about Nifty 100 as a broader universe, again it gave you like somewhere around like 19 to 20%. But if you remove the Nifty 50 out of the Nifty 100, that is, you just have left the Nifty next 50, it gives you 21 to 23% return. That's completely showing that Nifty 50 is somewhere dragging down the returns in terms of the final alpha generation. Even the Nifty next 50 is performing well vis-a-vis the Nifty 50. Here I'm talking about for long-term numbers, not 1 month, 2 month basis. Now don't just crib कि मतलब कि 1 month, 2 month basis पे the Nifty 50 has given me 6%, 5%, Nifty mid cap has given me 4 or 5. No, even for NSE 500, 11% year on year, right? So that is the thing. I'll justify this based upon one more fact: the PEG ratio, PEG ratio, not PE. September 2024 highs, when the market reached peak, the price to earning of Nifty 50 was 24.5. It bottomed down, it came down around, I'm talking about May end or June first week, to 22.5 or 23, right? Closer to September highs. Nifty small cap 250 की बात करते हैं. Peak was 32 in September 24 highs. It came down, corrected again. It has crossed that 32.4 in terms of price to earning. Nifty 150 mid cap, peak in September 24 was 44. It's come down to 34 now. So mid cap seems much more appealing with the large cap, and again the small cap if we try to compare that with the September 24 valuation. Nifty 50 and the Nifty 250 small cap have already approached or nearing approached towards those September high valuation, but mid cap is still far away. Based upon the price to earning growth ratio, baby, price to earning अगर Nifty 50 का कितना चल रहा है, right? Price to earning Nifty 50 का कितना चल रहा है? अगर हम 22 भी लें, 23 भी लें, earning growth हम देखें 10% की, 2.2, 2.3 का price to earning growth है. Mid cap का हम देखें, price to earning कितना चल रहा है? 34 by 20, around 1.7, 1.6 का PEG आएगा. PEG का formula भी नो. Price to earning by the EPS growth rate. Price to earning by the EPS growth rate. Small cap का देखें, price to earning कितना है? 34 by 17. Right? It has almost come closer to 2. So price earning growth rate of mid cap is still 1.6, 1.7 based upon PG. Nifty 50 का 2.2 पे हम आ गए हैं, around 2 पे हम small cap के लिए आ गए हैं. And one more last fact: historically, your Nifty 150 mid cap trades at 20 to 25% higher valuation than Nifty 50, and small cap 250 trades at 5% lower valuation. Now small cap is trading at a higher valuation compared to Nifty 50, and the premium of the Nifty 150 mid cap index has come down from 20% to 10 to 12% as compared to Nifty 50 in terms of valuation. And that is the reason why we can justify the smaller spaces much more than the large cap spaces.